Good evening. Good evening and welcome to this special town meeting convened to consider a citizen petition relating to a general bylaw enacted last year on gas-powered leaf blowers and a financial warrant article. I wasn't the brightest bulb, but I would say we have more than 150 people here tonight, so I note for the record, a quorum being present, the meeting is called to order. On my dais to the right are Town Clerk Melanie Waddell and Assistant Town Clerk Courtney Buchanan. To my left, Town Council Lauren Goldberg and Town Administrator Mitch Vieira. Sitting in convened session tonight are the Select Board to your left, my right, the Finance Committee to your right, my left, and the Department of Public Works Commissioners seated to my right in the audience. Please stand, attend to the nation's flag, and kindly recite with me the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The first order of business tonight is a reading of the warrant. The chair will entertain a motion to omit reading the warrant articles. Moved? Seconded? All those in favor of omitting reading the warrant say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. That motion carries. The ayes have it, and it is unanimous. The second order of business is to read the return of service on the warrant. I'll ask Town Clerk Melanie Waddell to read the return of service.
I, Gregory A. George, Constable of the Town of Rockport, have on this date, April 9th, 2025, posted the special town meeting warrant for the special town meeting to be held Monday, April 28th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. at the high school, in the 2 post offices, the town website, the town bulletin board, and 17 other public places throughout the town, including 3 in Precinct 1, 3 in Precinct 2, and 3 in Precinct 3. Signed, Gregory A. George, Constable of the Town of Rockport. Received Wednesday, April 9th, 2025 at 11 a.m. Signed, Melanie J. Waddell, Town Clerk.
Thank you, Ms. Waddell. And as you're coming in, I'll again, this is not a vote yet. I've got a little bit of talking to do. If you have an empty seat next to you, raise your hand occasionally so the folks coming in can see it. For people coming into the hall, those raised hands are to help you find empty seats. Those are to help you find empty seats as you come into the hall. Just some general announcements. The restrooms are out in the lobby, I think to the left. There's no smoking anywhere in the building or on school grounds, so please honor that requirement. And kindly silence all cell phones, pagers, Apple Watches, or any other noisemakers if you could. This meeting will be conducted in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order as adapted to town meeting by the laws of the Commonwealth, Rockport's bylaws, and custom and practice. First principle, let's be civil to one another, listen to one another, and consider carefully our decisions. I will briefly summarize our expected procedure and refer you to the guide for voters participating in town meeting, which is contained in your voters' booklet. All comments and remarks are addressed to the chair and should relate to the immediate question before the meeting. Sorry. Remarks should focus on the question before the meeting, its merits or lack of merit, not on personalities. Please remember, the motion, not the person, is the subject of the discussion. The sponsor bringing a motion is ordinarily afforded 10 minutes for remarks. Subsequent speakers have 5 minutes. I will warn you if you're approaching your limit so that you can make your final points. Speakers can't start back and forth questioning. However, if issues arise which call for clarification, I'll try to get focused, specific answers for you to avoid confusion. Straw polls, in other words, how many favor this or that, are not in order and should not be requested and will not be allowed. Speakers won't usually be recognized more than twice to address any debatable issue. Preference will be given to voters who have not yet spoken, to the extent that I'm able to figure that out on the fly. When discussion on a debatable motion is done, we will proceed to vote. Once we make that transition, further discussion is not in order. That happens when either I, as the moderator, sense the meeting is ready to vote, or a member with the floor makes a motion to move the previous question or end debate. 5 points on any motion for the previous question or to end debate. First, you must have the floor. You can't just shout it out. It will not be acted on. Second, once properly made, it itself is not a debatable motion. We will move immediately to voting. Third, if you make this motion, that is all you should say. Don't argue your view and then move the question. Whatever, if you have a particularly pithy comment, save it for something else. If you move the question, all I want to hear is your name, your residential address, and I move the question or I move to end debate. Is there any confusion about that? Good. Fourth, such a motion requires a 2/3 vote. Fifth, and finally, with this in mind, I would ask anyone to consider before moving to end discussion whether there have been legitimate issues raised by your neighbors which have not yet been clarified. I can't and I won't stop you from bringing the motion, but I ask you to remain mindful of this before making it. And finally, if this motion is made, again, I won't stop it, but if it's made and it fails, when we bring it up again, then falls to my discretion. We only have 2 articles today that will be before us. Our bylaws require that the articles be drawn by the lottery. I'll allow Ms. Waddell to explain how she does that and then let her do it so we can determine which we're doing first.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. As we do at every town meeting, I have a purple bag. It is empty right now. I have Article C and Article A. I'm going to drop them in the bag. They're in the bag. Courtney, if you'd like to choose which article will be chosen first. Article C.
Article C.
And then followed by Article A.
Before the motion is made, we have a brief public service announcement from the Select Board. Mr. Murphy. And everyone is in the hall. Thank you very much for your cooperation with getting everybody into the hall and everybody who made room for your neighbors. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Ladies and gentlemen of town meeting, your strong turnout tonight shows us how much you value the community of Rockport. It is great to see so many new faces in the audience, and I encourage all of you to please return in the future for town meetings. I recognize that these meetings can be long, and we have taken steps to speed up the meetings, including using voter clickers for moving along the meeting and getting an accurate vote count. What is accomplished in this gymnasium is vital and necessary for the health and well-being of our town. The annual town meeting is always held at the beginning of April, and the fall town meeting, also known as the financial town meeting, is always held at the beginning of September. Both meetings are conducted in the campus of Rockport High School and the Stephen A. Rowell Gymnasium. Civic engagement is a vital component to a healthy democracy as it empowers citizens to participate actively in decision-making process that affects their lives and communities. It encompasses a range of activities from voting in elections to volunteering for local organizations, and including attending town meeting. Town meeting serves as a platform for the community members to voice their opinions, ask questions, and engage directly with local leaders and public policy makers. The open town meeting, which is taking place right now, is the purest, in my opinion, of government there is. Each voter has a say in what transpires in this meeting. The Select Board is limited to what things they can accomplish without the approval of town meeting on a wide variety of issues and its. So I encourage townspeople to please come back and participate in these meetings. We need you more than ever. These gatherings foster transparency, accountability, collaboration, allowing residents to feel more connected with their local government and each other. In recent years, the importance of civic engagement has become increasingly evident. Many communities face challenges such as declining voting turnout, disengagement from local issues, and lack of trust in government institutions. You can help change that by participating in town meeting, and this evening by your presence, you are showing up. I look forward, as I am sure many of you do, to a spirited debate regarding the gas leaf blower issue, being allowed or disallowed in the town of Rockport. This topic has been debated in coffee shops in town. There have been multiple stories written in the Gloucester Times. There have been visibility events at Five Corners, back and forth opinions on Facebook over the last few weeks. Many people have very strong opinions on this issue. In a few moments, we will take up the issue on the floor of town meeting to debate its merits and eventually cast votes in favor or in opposition on the article before us. Let's have a good meeting and let the debate begin. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Mr. Vieira, is there a motion?
Mr. Moderator, lead petitioner James Aspesi moves that the town approve Article C as printed in the April 28, 2025 special town meeting voters booklet on page 18.
Moved and seconded. The question before you is whether to rescind the vote by the April 6, 2025 annual town meeting, which amended Chapter 14 of the general bylaws, adopting a bylaw related to gas-powered leaf blowers. This will require a majority vote to prevail. To avoid any unlikely confusion, I'm sure there's no confusion, but before we begin, to avoid any unlikely confusion, if you want the bylaw repealed, you will be voting yes in favor of the motion. If you want the bylaw to remain in force, you will vote no in opposition to the motion. If the motion prevails, the bylaw remains in effect until the results from this special town meeting are reported by the town clerk to the Attorney General for the Commonwealth and then approved by that office. Mr. Aspesi. JD, you want your slide? JD, you want your slide?
Good evening, and thank you all for being here tonight. My name is James Aspesi. I am a resident, a neighbor, a small business owner, and a dad here in town. As towns like ours consider restrictions, it's important to understand the real-world impact. Gas-powered blowers are essential tools for small businesses, contractors, landscapers, and many residents. These machines are reliable, durable, and uniquely capable of handling the heavy-duty demands of maintaining large properties, public spaces, golf courses, cemeteries, and seasonal cleanups, especially here in New England, where the seasons hit hard. Right now, battery technology is improving, and that's a good thing, but it's simply not there yet for professional use. Battery-powered equipment often can't match the runtime, power, or durability needed for full workdays. This is especially true during spring and fall cleanups when crews are working longer hours to keep up with the demand. Outfitting even a modest crew with electric alternatives would cost over $20,000 up front. And that's for just one crew of 3 workers. Crews would still need gas-powered generators running on job sites all day long just to keep the batteries charged. That means more emissions, not less, and ironically, even more noise. We also can't ignore the environmental costs of battery production. Lithium mining, battery manufacturing, and disposal all leave a major footprint. Battery powered doesn't automatically mean clean. It just shifts the impact somewhere else. Last year's bylaw passed with good intentions. We all care about our environment. But unfortunately, the policy overlooked the seasonal realities of New England, the technical limitations of current equipment, and the seasonal financial impacts on local workers and small businesses. This special town meeting isn't about ignoring voters. It's about fixing a rushed policy that didn't fully consider the consequences. It's about protecting the people who work hard every day to keep Rockport beautiful. We all want cleaner, quieter town. We all want progress. But real progress doesn't mean punishing the very people who maintain our landscapes, parks, and public spaces. Let's work together towards smart, fair solutions to help everyone. Please vote yes to reverse the ban on gas-powered leaf blowers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Aspesi. Thank you, Mr. Aspesi. Mr. Arsenian?
Point of order, Toby Arsenian, 95 Granite Street. You can rescind a vote half an hour after it was taken. The vote to adopt the blower bylaw was properly counted by the town clerk. It was sent to the Attorney General. It was approved by the Attorney General. It has been posted by the town clerk. Both the motion and the article are out of order. What's needed for the proponents, if they want to be rid of the bylaw, is a motion to rescind the article in the Code of Bylaws. That's Chapter 14, Section C and Section 3. So it's altogether out of order.
Thank you, Mr. Arsenian. You've made the record. The motion is in order. I understand your grammatical point. It's the equivalent of a motion to repeal, but thank you, and you've made your record. Discussion. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Campbell, if you don't mind, you stood up first. Thank you. I know you didn't see her.
Thank you. Christine Downing, 19 Parker Street. In 2022, Rockport voters supported net zero by 2040. In 3 years, we've seen little action from our town government. The new DPW barn, for example, didn't build in solar panels or heat pumps. I'd like to know, why is that? In 2024, just to do one thing, voters banned gas leaf blowers, one source of pollution that contributes to the CO2 load in our atmosphere and to global warming. If we have to take things one at a time, this is how it is. It's something everyone can control with a decision. We have been called back here to revisit the decision made last year. We have more ability to change things at a local level than at state or federal levels. So to participate in working toward net zero by 2040, this is where our best chance is to do it. And so start here. I'd just like to point out something with the kind of division and the conversations that have been going on. For and against the ban are not equivalents. This is not about good versus evil, right or wrong, us versus them, my team versus your team, or winning versus losing. We all lose when we fall into false dialectics. There are prices we all pay when someone uses gas leaf blowers, including serious health effects, enduring oppressive noise, and toxic dust. Some effects like asthma and allergies are immediate, and others like cancer and hearing loss appear years later when regret doesn't mitigate the cost and memory doesn't connect cause and effect. This is real-world impact also. The ban on gas leaf blowers is not a ban on all leaf blowers. It's okay if you use electric leaf blowers. They really are different. This has been talked about at length. So, Noise and dirt clouds from gas leaf blowers don't obey boundaries of one property. They drift through the neighborhood and beyond. Does one person have a right to impose toxic pollution on neighbors? We know that breathing these aerosolized substances is unhealthy. They include animal feces, heavy metal. Remember, it's also lead paint that's in the ground, allergens, viruses, mold, pollen, asphalt, plus emissions of benzene, carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, and more. Does anyone have a right to say no when they're affected by a neighbor's pollution? Isn't this about making a decision for the common good? Whose rights are we talking about? Everyone can win if we support healthier decisions for our whole community and for our whole environment. So please vote no. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Downing. Mr. Campbell?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Don Campbell, 5 King Street Court. Although some may think this meeting is money wasted, it is money well spent provided for in our town bylaws. We're here, so let's make the most of our time. To the point, we can quote statistics all day long in favor or against. This gets us nowhere. It is meant to bolster an argument, but only serves to falsely plant visions of horticultural Armageddon should one particular point of view not be adopted. I see this particular issue as the slippery slope of banning many other things to come. What's next? Lawnmowers, snow blowers, chainsaws, hedge clippers? Further, as the pro crowd considered that children are quite frequently the ones that harvest the materials needed for batteries in third world countries so others far removed from their suffering can feel better about themselves, all the while ignoring the real cost of health and lives. Instead of virtue signaling on insignificant issues like this, why has there been no outcry for the real polluter in town? The incessant idling of trains, sometimes 3 at a time, all night long, spewing more diesel smoke and carcinogens than all leaf blowers and gas-powered tools combined. Where is that outrage? That's the hard fight. Why not try and make a real difference and take on the tea and Keolis, or are we just going after the low-hanging fruit? In closing, I urge all to vote yes and let people live their lives free of interference from those who think they know what's best for everyone else. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Mr. Arsenian?
Toby Arsenian, 95 Granite Street. We're talking about a bylaw, and here is a copy of the Code of Bylaws. We also, in the Code of Bylaws, have a bylaw on lighting. It's based on the principle of light trespass, meaning you can light up your backyard like a ball field, but you cannot illuminate your neighbor's property. Obviously, this does not work for noise. It travels long distances and unaccountably, and you may be delighted with the sound of your blower and making your neighbors miserable. Do you care? And the people who are running the landscape companies are raking in the money. For them, the sound is a good thing. Not so for the neighbors, and not so necessarily for their employees, who have little choice in the matter. These are not skilled jobs. If you say, you, an employee, I don't want to use the gas blower, I'm frightened of the fumes, I don't want to use it, I'm afraid of hearing loss, you can be sure that you're out of a job. Mr. Campbell was talking about what might be called environmental justice. You know, unfortunate things happen to people far away. Well, unfortunate things are happening to people right here. And the people who have the jobs with the landscaping companies don't have skills that would get them other jobs necessarily, and their health is at risk, as well as the health of the neighbors. Jonathan Lilia at a voters' candidates meeting raised the issue of the fire department and their use of gas blowers. I had never heard of that before, but apparently it's something they use in suppressing fires. And I wrote an amendment that would make an exception for that use. The moderator has reasonably enough ruled it out of order. But if we retain the ordinance, we could write for the next town meeting an amendment that would allow the fire department to use the gas blowers in the event of fires. All the rules go by the board when you've got an emergency. Although I'm told in Los Angeles, where they have much bigger fires, that they don't use gas blowers. They're regarded as a safety hazard. So I think that the regulation that we adopted is in the common good. It is certainly a difficulty for the landscapers, and it should be noted that 50 years ago, the town was not nearly so grand, so prim, so neat. There were occasional leaves under the shrubbery. It was a pleasanter place altogether, peace and quiet. I would say, go buy a rake.
Thank you, Mr. Arsenian. Yes, ma'am.
Karen Perry, 41 Quarry Ridge Lane. Boy, everyone's such a hard act to follow. All the speakers on both sides speak so well, and all the points are such good points. I'm on the, why don't we have a plan to get to maybe not net zero, but at least to move forward? We are going underwater, and it seems like I would like our town to still be here in the future. So I was really pleased when the town moved forward with this initiative at the town meeting a year ago, and I would like us to continue to find ways with each step and with each move to, to make movement forward. I agree with the speaker who said that we've missed many opportunities to be more environmentally oriented with some of our initiatives, and we should start taking advantage of them. So I hope that we will take some inconvenience and continue to support this initiative.
Thank you. Mr. Tobin?
Good evening, Mr. Moderator. Thank you. And it's wonderful to see 750 people. Congratulations to all of you. Fantastic. Democracy in action. I'd like to, I'm 24 Beach Street.
Thank you.
And I'd like to have an amendment to this motion and discuss that. And what I'd like to have is a formation of an ad hoc town meeting committee. Now, we have one called the Government and Bylaws. We have another one called the Water Committee, all right? So we have that. And however, what I'd like is to have it make a study on both sides of this issue. Both sides of this issue have really not been discussed till tonight. Now, we've never heard about the new gas blowers that have much less noise and much cleaner environmental results. They're out there. They are very expensive. However, if we can form this committee, we could study it. And by fall town committee, not let this go on and on and on, we must make a report to the town meeting. We are all representatives here. This is a very sacred honor, and we should do something permanent. This is a desperation effort right now to overturn a vote that we properly took. It's really, really tweaking our democracy and dangerous. And if we keep doing this, what's to stop in 100, 200 votes? Big deal. You get another special town meeting, and another one, and another one. It's not a good idea. It's a bad way to have democracy. So I'd like to propose this to study the gas and electric leaf blower issue and report before the fall town meeting. It's going to have 7 members, so there's no way it can tie. And the moderator, town clerk, and the chair of the select board will be the people that whoever wants to get on it will appear before them and tell them why they want to get on it. And I think if we do it this way, we'll never be back here for this. Because I honestly feel when you rush law, you get a lousy law. Law is a deliberative process for a reason. And I've taught civics all my life. And if you rush it, you don't get anything. So that's my motion.
Okay,
and,
so Mr.
my
Tobin, I'm
reasons.
going to state it. You tell me if I got it correctly. It's actually not
Thank
a
you.
motion to amend. It's a motion to refer.
Okay.
I'm going to restate it as I understood
All
it.
right.
You tell me if I got it correct. You are moving for this town meeting to refer the question of gas and/or electric leaf blower issues, both sides of the issue, to an ad hoc committee to be appointed by an appointing committee made up of the moderator, the town clerk, and the sitting chair of the select board, and with the instructions to look at both sides and to report back by the time of the fall town meeting. I'm going to give the caveat to you, Mr. Tobin, that we spoke about so the meeting understands it. It's fine if you have it report back to fall town meeting. That is not actually enforceable because the select board puts together the warrant. Obviously, there's some moral force behind it. You could also have it be to report to the select board or the government bylaw committee, fill in the blank. Have I stated your motion correctly?
That is correct.
All right. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. That motion is in order and is now the subject of discussion. So the question now before the meeting is whether or not to refer the issue of gas and/or electric leaf blowers to an ad hoc committee to be made up of 7 members appointed by an appointing committee made up of the moderator, the town clerk, the chair of the select board, and to report back to the fall town meeting, which I think is September 7, something like that, Monday after Labor Day. Okay, so that's the motion. Discussion. Mr. Tobin. That's not recognized. Mr. Tobin, do you wish to address the merits of your
Yes.
motion to
Yes.
refer now?
Yes.
If you have anything else to add.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We do this because the current bylaw will not take full effect till 2026, June 2026. Year and a half away, folks. Perhaps we can really help these wonderful landscapers that are here because they have businesses and they deserve all our attention to make their lives a lot easier, not mandates by the state. We just went through that nonsense with the town, whatever it's called, the MBTA horror law. All right. So another reason we want to have this is because we want to avoid the whole idea of going back and forth with another special town meeting. So you win tonight, landscapers, and guess what? Before the bylaw is going to go into the town hall, it's going to go into the state. That's what they all do when you try to change something. 90 days later, they'll decide. What are you winning tonight? We all think it happens right away and I can go out there and do all I want. No, you cannot. You will have to abide by the bylaw till the state attorney general makes the decision. Next, we want to make sure that electric and gas sides of both issues are thoroughly vetted. This is not a body to thoroughly vet anything. You've all been here, some of you not so much, but tonight you're all here. And And what happens here is a very formal way. It's called the Roberts Rules of Order and this, all the rest of this stuff, all right? It's not really, you might think it's a deliberative body, but it's not. It's really not. Things are decided before you get here, folks. And everyone who's been here, that's what happens here. However, a committee, intelligent committee, made up of landscapers and all the other experts we need, and they are the experts, they use the stuff, all right? And then the next thing is, if we Fine, want to call the question? Someone's going to call it. I can't. Mr. Mara, may I call it?
I'm sorry, I missed the thread. May you what?
May I call the question?
No,
So we
you
can
may
talk?
not.
No, I can't.
No, you may
Okay.
not.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Tobin.
Thank you so much.
Sir?
I
Mr.
don't know
McCarthy?
if this is a point of order question, but I have nothing to say on the amendment.
No,
I just-
so what's the point of order?
I don't know if maybe it's not a point of order, but if I call the question now, can I get back in line to speak on the main thing? Because I don't have anything to say about
Okay,
that amendment.
but I'm not going to let you call it now because you just did that. But-
That's fine.
But let me, it's a good point, I'll clarify it.
Yeah.
If somebody, for argument's sake, not to weigh in on the issue, if something's being discussed and a particular voter, John Smith, calls the question on that issue, and then we vote on that, and then we go back to the other issue, it's open for discussion again. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, can I just wait over here until
Yes.
the thing? Okay.
This is the question before all of you is whether to refer this issue to an ad hoc committee made up of 7 people, as I outlined before. If anybody's confused on the parameters, let me know and I'll restate it, but that's the question, whether to refer to a committee of 7 made up of people appointed by the moderator, the chair of the select board, and the town clerk. Yes, sir.
Hi, Jesse Fallon, 6 High Street. It's an interesting proposal by the gentleman, kind of surprising to me. No?
Jesse, could you just get closer to the mic? I'm having trouble hearing you.
Sure, I said
And your name and address, if you didn't say
Jesse
it.
Fallon, 6 High Street. It's an interesting, the proposal to refer it to a committee is interesting and surprising. I think we're all here with a lot of energy and have this desire to make a decision, and I think, as the gentleman probably accurately said, most people have already decided in their mind how they want to vote. That being said, I think personally it's an interesting idea, and there's merit to thinking about it, having people who, like his point about are there cleaner or quieter gas-powered mowers could have value. The idea from Mr.
Keep in mind, the question that we're talking about is whether to refer to a committee.
I am, thank you. I guess what I'm trying to say is I think there could be value in referring it to a committee because there are a lot of complicated aspects of this. The fire department exclusion, the possibility of cleaner gas-powered motors or quieter ones. So although I have a sense that everyone's desire is just to move forward and get the decision made, I would say I see some merit to the idea of referring to committee.
Thank you. Ms. Wilkinson?
Sure. Oh. Now it won't stay. There we go. Thank you. I'm Sarah Wilkinson, 23 Highview Road. So having just retired from the Board of Selectmen after 18 years, I think there are times when referring something to a committee is a good idea, and there are times when there isn't. And in my opinion, this is one time that it absolutely is not. I'm actually offended that someone would say that would say at this point, we have over 700 people in this room. Do you know what we would give to have this many people in a room for a normal vote? To say that handing it to a committee of 7 would be appropriate. I think what we should do is vote down the amendment, vote on the actual motion that's here this evening, and then whether it passes or fails, then put a committee of 7 together to look at these issues ongoing.
Thank you, Ms. Wilkinson. Ms. Lawton? Ms. Lawton? Ms. Lawton? Are you waiting, Ms. Lawton? Are you waiting in line, Ms. Lawton?
I am, but not.
Oh, okay.
Moderator, there are no additional speakers for the amendment.
I can't hear you.
Mr. Moderator, there are no additional speakers for the amendment.
There's no more
specifically.
speakers waiting
Unless
for the
there's-
amendment.
we have
Okay.
one more.
Hi, Kathy Carasone, 10 Wharf Road. The only thing I'd like to say is there's been a lot of misinformation on both sides about the facts of what the blowers are, how much they cost, what their lifespan is, and a committee would allow the real facts to be whittled down and be able to be reported, so we could actually decide on the facts, not on rantings on Facebook.
All right. Does anyone else wish to speak on the question of whether to refer to a committee? Mr. Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Don Campbell, 5 King Street Court. 700-plus people have showed up here tonight to take a vote. To relegate that to a committee of 7 to kick the can down the road is not correct. Unless I'm missing something, that's what this amendment would do. These people came here to vote. Their voices should be heard tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Yes, go ahead. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hi, Paige Eaton, 17 Bay Ridge Lane. I'd like to move the question.
All right. Yeah. I'm going to do it by hand. Yeah, with the voters' cards. Everybody have your blue voters' cards? Have your blue voters' cards handy, please. If anybody doesn't, so I don't want to hear it about after the fact. Does anybody not have a blue voter card? Okay, because we're not using the clickers. All right. So the motion to move the previous question or end debate is moved and seconded and is in order. It's not a debatable motion. It requires a 2/3 vote to carry. If the motion prevails, debate will end, and we will then proceed immediately to voting on the question of whether to refer to a committee. It requires a 2/3 vote. I'm going to try this by a show of hands first. The question is whether to end debate on Mr. Tobin's motion to refer to a committee of 7. Is anyone confused on the question we're about to vote on? All right. Did I hear someone? No. All right. Excellent. Okay. All those in favor? Mr. Sepula, what's your point of order?
Confused.
Yeah.
I am confused. We're voting to call a question on the amendment.
So, yes, all right, I'll restate it. Thank you, Mr. Sepula. I'm sure there are others too. So, the question now hanging in the air that we're about to vote on is whether to end debate on Mr. Tobin's motion to refer to a committee of 7 to be appointed by the moderator, the chair of the select board, and the town clerk. That's the motion that we're about to vote on.
So we're going to end debate, and then we'll vote on whether or not you want to form this committee.
You are correct, sir.
All right.
All right. So, anybody else confused? Seeing none. All right, all those in favor of ending discussion on whether to refer to a committee, please raise your hand. All those opposed, same sign. I think that one carries. Ayes have it. All right. So now we will move immediately to whether to refer to a committee. The question now before you is whether to refer gas and electric-powered leaf blowers and everything before this meeting under Article C to an ad hoc committee of 7, appointed by the moderator, the chair of the select board, and the town clerk to report by fall town meeting. It requires a majority vote to pass. Is anyone confused on what we're about to vote on? All right. All those in favor of referring to a committee, raise your hand. Opposed, say, oh, sorry, keep them up, I jumped the gun. Opposed, same sign. The noes have it, that motion fails. We are now back to discussion on the original motion made by Mr. Askeson. Mr. McCarthy.
Yes, Aidan McCarthy, 58 High Street. Sorry, I'm in like a twilight zone now all of a sudden. So when the town voted to put $1 million of concrete into a portion of a crumbling seawall, I was very disappointed. I did not like that outcome. But, you know, sometimes in democracy, you lose. You got to show up. If you don't organize, then unfortunately, that's how it goes. I'm kind of disappointed there wasn't really any new information presented by the petitioners tonight. I'm unclear as to if that cost is the cost that it always was, if it went up recently, if it's going down, or any of that sort of detail that I was hoping for that would have changed my mind to lift the ban. On some points that have been risen about the batteries, talking about the children working in the mines, the batteries, even if you take that into account, there was an MIT study done in, I believe, 2022 that showed that still batteries for like electric vehicles, still, even with the mining and all that jazz, output less CO2 than gasoline. Also, 2004, the war in Iraq, that was over gasoline, so lots of people died for gasoline, just the same as for rare earth metals. Diesel engines are more efficient than gasoline engines. They do output pollutants similar to what a four-stroke engine does put out. However, they do tend to move a lot more people, and they're just more efficient than the four-stroke engines are, like per weight, right? Like a train engine is really heavy, so it's not putting out as much proportionally pollutant as a leaf blower is. Sorry, I wanted to address some of the stuff that was said earlier. So, I want to try and put into perspective some of the leaf blower pollutant stuff, right? So I think one of the things floating around is from Edmunds, from I believe like 2012, 2014-ish a study. They found that running the same amount of time, a two-stroke leaf blower engine outputs 10 times as much pollution as a pickup truck, and that's if I round down in favor of the leaf blower. And so as far as pollutants are concerned, one of these leaf blowers running for a period of time in a yard for like 10 minutes is like having 10 pickup trucks pumping their exhaust into the yard. And then for someone in a truck, you know, they're not breathing in the exhaust of the truck. If a truck drives by someone, they're only getting that pollutant for like a fraction of a second. But for someone who's actually actively working in a yard with these pollutants being pumped out, and like unless they're wearing a gas mask, I think that functionally they're just standing in the middle of a cloud of 10 pickup trucks pumping exhaust into the yard, which to me feels a little like an OSHA violation. My main concern, though, with this sort of petition is, like, when will it end? Like, if the folks are not happy with the outcome tonight, then is it just going to keep flip-flopping back and forth and back and forth? And I feel like lifting the ban has sort of set this precedent that we're just going to keep, as a community, second-guessing each other's, stuff. Democracy, you have to organize, you have to show up, which, like, we have tonight, but, lots of stuff has not gone my way at town meetings, and I've never been like, oh, I'm going to rabble-rouse and get everyone in, and we're going to overturn it. And I think that, overturning even something small as this is a microcosm of everything that's going wrong with the country right now on both sides of the aisle, of people not believing results of elections here or there or wherever. And so I feel like I'm about to finish up. Oh my gosh, I'm finishing up. Okay, give me 2 seconds.
Is that 3 minutes?
Do I get that time back?
You're at 3 minutes, 36 seconds.
Oh, so I still have a whole 90 seconds left? No, but yeah, that was my last point there, is basically I think the pollutants are just too great, and I think it is a danger to the workers using them. I was disappointed by the lack of new information given tonight by the petitioners, and I think that if we repeal this, we've opened up a Pandora's box of continually flip-flopping back and forth, and I don't know where that ends, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. Ms. Lawton?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Monica Lawton, 11 Story Street. I was one of the people who sat through the last town meeting to take a vote on this issue, and I find myself very upset that I'm back here again having to vote upon it a second time because there were people who failed to show up at that meeting to express their views, which were apparently so important to them. We all understand that citizens have the right to call a special town meeting like this, but my understanding is this law allowing that right was not intended to be used for this purpose, to what we're doing today. It was intended to provide a means to address an emergency situation that couldn't wait for the next regular town meeting, or an issue that didn't get onto a warrant for a regular town meeting for whatever reason, and that gives citizens the opportunity to take action. It was not intended to address issues that could easily be addressed at a regular meeting, could have easily been addressed at the April town meeting just 3 weeks ago. It does set a terrible precedent. Now I worry that every special interest group in town that feels they're too busy to attend and sit through a town meeting with the rest of us will call for a special one where it can pack the house and determine the outcome in advance. Town meeting has been the form of government in this Commonwealth for some 300 years, and it has worked pretty well. And if we don't like the town meeting form of government that requires us to sit through town meetings, then we should try to change that law. But that's the law we have, and we all ought to learn to abide by it. The meeting today is subverting the law in more ways than one. You may notice there was no one standing up in favor of the ban today, and that's because she's in England. She did not know there was going to be a town meeting. We usually have several months' notice of a regular
Ms. Lawton,
town
if you
meeting.
can bring it doesn't involve any individual, if you can address whether you are urging a no vote or a yes vote.
I am urging a no vote to keep the ban in place. I have a couple of other points I'd like to make. We've all heard the arguments, and I'm not going to belabor them, about the noise, the fumes, and the dust, etc. I think there is science behind those, and the workers that I see in the yards next door with their leaf blowers and no hearing protection, they are going to suffer for that. This ban was proposed to really in the interest of public health and safety. And in my experience working in the construction industry for several decades, when new regulations are proposed in the interest and health of safety, I never heard any complaints. And businesses and contractors would just work those costs into their regular costs of doing business and pass it along, amortize the cost over several years. I never once heard complaints working with all of the subcontractors in commercial construction. So this is quite a change for me. And I happened to look at the website of the National Association of Professional Landscapers, who bill themselves as representing the 2,000 best companies in the nation in the landscaping business. Not surprisingly, they do not favor bans, but they do support measures for the health and safety of workers and people, and they do support a transitional period to new and alternative technologies, such as what we tried to implement last year with our transitional ban on leaf blowers. And that just puzzles me that the landscapers don't follow the advice of their national association. And I really think that we ought to take that to heart and preserve the vote that was taken just last year and keep the democracy here working the way it should. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lawton. Mr. Sepula?
Yeah, Z. Sepula, 92 Granite Street. There is one thing, a technical note that I think everybody that's here that probably isn't usually here should know. At a regular town meeting, it only takes 4/5 of a vote to take an article out of the lottery and put it for immediate consideration. So if there's at least 4/5 of the people here that are in favor or not in favor of something, go to a regular town meeting, we could dispense with having to come to these things, because that'll easily carry and it'll easily get these types of questions done at 1 o'clock in the afternoon instead of 5:30 like they usually wind up. So that's just a point of order to the people that don't usually come. I did have a question when I read this article. It said, to bridge that gap, many crews would be forced to run gas-powered generators throughout the day to recharge their batteries. And I had a question on that. how much time is spent blowing as opposed to raking or trimming and cutting and whatnot. And those are the kinds of questions that I would like answered. And I think that when Bill Tobin came up with that motion to refer this to a committee, it wasn't a bad idea. There's be questions like that could be answered, and would all be in a better shape to make a decision. So I just want to say that I don't really have any strong feelings on this, except I don't know one way or another, which is really the better thing. And I think it could be found out. We could all find out. And I do know one thing, that this is the best example of why to have people show up at regular town meetings, so we can get this kind of thing done at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, not at 7 o'clock.
Mr. Sepulveda, just so I know what you were looking for, can you just briefly restate what the information is you're seeing, if you could get?
I read on the petitioner's article, to bridge that gap, many crews would be forced to run gas-powered generators throughout the day.
Okay. All right, thank you. I'll see if I can get some clarification on that. Thank you very much. Yes, sir?
Thank you.
Hello, Liam McCarthy, 58 High Street. I just want to talk as a, I clearly am younger.
Could you get a little closer to the mic?
Yes,
I can't hear you.
I just want to talk from my perspective as someone who is a lot younger than a lot of people in this room. Please hear me out. People in my generation are very afraid of climate change, and we all believe that we have to do what we can. And now, of course, this is leaf blowers. A lot of people think that this is a small thing. It won't actually change anything when there's so many much more polluting things out there. But I would like to remind everyone that in World War II, it was people were given ration cards. And sure, that was not much, but they did their part. It was people saw that their small actions could contribute to making their country and their world a better place. And I would ask everyone, if we did our part back then, why is it so controversial to ask people to do their part today? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir?
Phil Tansen, 15 Prospect Street. Recently, while returning to town, I saw an elderly man using his gas-powered blower. It'll be financially difficult for retirees on fixed incomes if the ban on gas blowers is not overturned. Instead of debating endlessly, we should focus on the financial impact on contractors and our community. These contractors encompass not only medium-sized and large landscaping companies, but also include professionals such as DPW workers, firefighters, teachers, postal workers, etc., who are trying to supplement their income so they can afford to live in our town. Let me emphasize the word afford. Some of those I just mentioned are our volunteer firefighters. Consider a situation that may arise. A volunteer firefighter forgot to charge the batteries for the next day because after work, he or she was busy with fire training and/or a fire call. For me, this happened many times during my 34 years as a volunteer firefighter, but all I had to do the next day was turn on my computer. I did not need to charge my computer overnight. Think of the financial ramifications when you cast your vote tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tansen. Yes, ma'am.
Cynthia Johnson, 9 Marmion Way.
And maybe we might be able to get some help for you there, ma'am.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I can stand on my toes. Now, first of all, everybody's here because they love Rockport. In the summer, people flock here because it's gorgeous and quiet and quaint. The facts are clear that the gas-powered leaf blowers do cause hearing loss. I have a really bad hearing loss, so I apologize if I'm repeating anything. But they go way into the decibel range that it harms especially children and people like me. Well, everybody, because it's the high-end frequencies that allow you to understand speech, and that's what gets hurt. That and the pollution, I really don't understand. I know landscapers, which I use occasionally because I'm getting old and I can't carry trees or big bags of mulch much anymore. But, so I know landscapers work really hard. I know that. And I have great respect for the work that you do. I don't quite get why the investment of, and we gave the transitory time in what we voted on, the investment in switching to battery-powered, which I know landscapers who use that. Yes, they have to buy chargers. They don't have to buy gas-powered chargers. But you would only have to invest $20,000 if you were a very large operation. I know a lot of landscapers who are 1, 2 guys, a handful of guys, maybe a bigger business. But I don't quite get like why you can't, just the same as every other field of work, like accounting. When you have to upgrade your tools, you pass that on to the consumer. You divide it over time and among how many customers you have. Like some of those living in $4, $10 million houses.
Watch that mic if you could, ma'am.
I
Thank you.
don't get why that's cannot be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Brindamore?
Actually, I'm Pam Windsor.
Thank you, Rob.
23 High Street. Some towns have had an ear, nose, throat doctor speak. I'm a poor substitute. I suffer from leaf blowers. I get migraines. I get pain and numbness on my left side of my face. I get dizzy, and it affects my heart in terms of AFib. The landscapers are really nice to me when they show up early in the morning, next door or whatever. I go out in my PJs and I say, can you give me a few minutes? I go get dressed and I leave for the day. I leave at 9, I come back at 1, and they're still going. It's really torture for me. To extend that past just me, 10 to 14% of people under 65 have tinnitus. That includes veterans, rock music fans, older people with hearing loss. 24% of people over 65 have tinnitus. 40% of people with tinnitus have what's called hyperacusis, which is a fancy word for hearing sensitivity, and many of those have pain like me. If you look it up, these hearing issues can affect the facial nerve, can affect migraines, and can affect heart arrhythmias. So there hasn't been much discussion of noise and health here. I am an older person. These problems are fairly recent for me. I've had good conversations with people. You know, I think there's understanding between both sides if we talk. The only thing I would ask is when there are 3 leaves left on the lawn, turn it off and pick them up.
Thank you, Ms. Brindamore. Ms. Truitt?
Thank you. Audrey Truitt, 27 South Street. I was going to start off with what Monica Lawton said, but she said it so much better that I'm just going to get right into the middle of what I wanted to say. The 2-year phase-out of gas leaf blowers is an amendment that already passed for the common good of all in this town. Rockport's Board of Health agreed with all the science the original petitioner brought before them. 4-stroke gas blowers, while not as toxic as 2-stroke, are still toxic. They are more complicated machines and they need more frequent maintenance. A study by the Oregon legislature comparing compatible size gas and electric blowers running for 5 hours a day shows that the return on investment for an electric blower will be met over 10.5 months when compared with the ongoing expense of maintaining a gas blower. As a toddler, I remember standing on the seat of the car while my parents were driving. For the common good, we all wear seatbelts now, and young children are required to be in car seats. Would any of you drive your children or grandchildren in a car without the proper restraints? In fact, if you were in the car and drive by a landscaping crew using gas blowers, you probably close your windows so the animal feces, dirt, and gas fumes don't get in your lungs. I remember smoking cigarettes indoors at events and restaurants around both children and the elderly, and I wish I could apologize now to all of them. But even in our homes, most would not jeopardize the health and well-being of friends and family. We have stopped smoking indoors for the common good of all those around us. Voting to overturn the phase-in leaf blower amendment is akin to not buckling your child in and then blowing cigarette smoke in their face. If people are concerned about lithium batteries, then I just want to say you may take a look at your computer and your cell phone. The gas blowers are extremely and dangerously polluting, both with particles and noise. Some against the ban have asked, do you know anyone who got sick from a gas blower? Well, I don't know anyone who got lung cancer from their first few years of smoking. It is cumulative and it is bad. We know the science. We know that many landscapers have switched to electric tools and are making money from clients in a growing customer base that is concerned with environmental health issues. They are making money not because they charge more, but because the cost to run their equipment is less. There are hundreds of companies using electric leaf blowers. I don't understand why all the companies in Rockport cannot do that. I like to think that we at Rockport are a community of people who work toward the common good when a problem arises. I care about my health, I care about the health of people around me, and I will vote no today, and I urge you to also.
Thank you, Ms. Truitt. Yes, ma'am.
Beth Renner, 49 Granite Street. Would you please call the question?
All right. All right, the motion to move the previous question or in debate is moved and seconded and is in order. I know you just went through it, but keep in mind it's not a debatable motion. It requires a 2/3 vote to carry. If the motion carries, we will then stop debating and immediately turn to vote on the Mr. Aspacy's main motion. So the question now before you is whether to end discussion on the motion under Article C. It requires a 2/3 vote. Is anybody confused on what we're about to vote on? Okay. I'm going to try this by a show of hands. All those in favor of ending discussion on the motion under Article C, please raise your hand with your blue voter card. Okay. Opposed? Same sign. I'm going to go out on a limb and say the ayes have it. That motion carries by more than 2/3. So we now move to voting on Mr. Aspacy's motion. Bear with me. I just don't want anyone saying they were confused, which happens every meeting. So the question before you is whether to rescind the vote by the April 6, 2025 annual town meeting, which amended Chapter 14, adopting a bylaw relating to gas-powered leaf blowers, to beat the dead horse into the ground. If you want the bylaw repealed, you will vote yes in favor of the motion. If you want the bylaw to remain in force, you will vote no in opposition. Is anyone confused on the question before you? We have people in the vestibule area. Can you come in? Can we get people, and if you want your vote to be counted, can you please come in? With your blue cards, nice blue cards so I can see them, please come in. And can I have someone let me know when everyone who wants to be part of this meeting is in the hall? And please, I know a lot of people are standing. I know it's somewhat limited, but if you can find a seat, find a seat. Yeah. We're good? We're good. All right. So again, if you want the bylaw repealed, you will vote yes. In favor, if you want the bylaw to remain in force, you will vote no. It requires a majority vote. All those in favor of Mr. Aspacy's motion to repeal the bylaw, please raise your hand with your blue cards. Okay, opposed, the same sign. We're going to have to take a count. I'm not going to make that call. So I need the tellers that we have who have been our volunteer tellers to please step forward. Can you explain? Can you tell me the divisions?
Just so everyone understands how we're going to divide up the room, and it's going to be really important, especially down at the back, if you guys could split onto one side or the other, because our counters are going to have to count everyone.
Yeah, like the Red Sea on Moses, part left and right.
If you can find space in the bleachers, it will make it a lot easier and a lot cleaner, so I'm just going to give everybody a couple minutes to get there. We have one section which is going to be the bleachers on the left side from my direction. The bleachers, including the Finance Committee. And then on the right-hand side, it will be the bleachers and the Select Board. And then we're going to have 4 sections on the floor. From the middle monitors forward on the floor, from the middle monitors on the floor forward on the right and left. And then it's going to be the back quadrant with our counters who are out in the hallway, who are also registered voters of the town, and the back quadrant and anybody up against the wall. All right, so I'll give, and all the counters are going to count in pairs to ensure that the count that the first person got is the same count the second person got, and then we'll tally all those votes. You guys want a pen and a sheet?
If you are a visitor, we don't have many. We started them off down in the cafeteria. If you are a visitor, if you're not a Rockport voter, you should have a sticker on. You should not have a blue card. And I'd ask you to stand in the vestibule, please, to make sure that we get an accurate count. So if you're a visitor, please stand in the vestibule. Don't use a blue card. Do not raise your hand or get counted, please. Yep. Are the counters ready? Counters ready. Yell out if you're not ready and you're a counter. Counters ready. Hearing nothing, we're ready. All right. Again, if you're in favor of the repeal, you're voting yes. If you're leaving the bylaw where it is, you're voting no. All those in favor of Mr. Aspacy's motion to rescind and i.e. repeal the bylaw, please raise your hands with your blue cards. And keep them up so the counters can count your vote. And they're all going to come back and tell me. All right, and all the tellers, when you have the aye vote, you're going to return here and let me know that so that people cannot suffer neurologic injury holding their hands up forever. We're good? Are all the any tellers not back? Are there? Okay. There are still tellers counting somewhere. I see them. Is it only Rob?
No, there's some of the back
Okay,
too.
all right. Just breathe. Is he the only one? Molly's right there. She's still counting? Yep. Can we, are there some sections can put their hands down?
Yeah, only the bleachers can leave their hands up.
Is that's definitely true? All right. The bleachers, keep your hands up. Everyone else, you can put your hands down. You've been counted. Is Rob back? You guys are good? Who? All the tellers, please return to the town clerk. Can this side put their hands down? Can they put their hands down? Okay. The bleachers to my right, i.e. to your left, if you're in the back of the room, you may put your hands down. Are they all good? And the bleachers to my left, you can put your hands down. And while they're talking, I just want to make sure everybody knows the real reason you came here for is the $5,000 transfer, which will immediately follow this article. So I urge you all to stay and participate in that heavy debate. Please, if you are leaving, please keep it quiet. I need a quorum of 150 to get that article taken care of. Are we good? All right, now we're ready to take the other side. All those opposed to Mr. Aspacy's motion, please raise your hand with your blue cards. So if you are in favor of keeping the bylaw as it is, raise your hand with your cards. I'm going to try to use persuasion. Okay, but you never know. Some people don't vote. You never know. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. So the only remaining pollers are these guys. Okay. You can switch hands if you need to. Keep that blood moving. Bleachers to my left, bleachers to my left, you may put your hands down. Bleachers to my right, you already did. Yep. I just want to make sure they're all. That's a QR code, Mitch?
It's a QR code, or they can go to the website.
Okay. Is that everybody? Chris, are you done? You done? Are there any other tellers? Can everybody put their hands down? All right. Okay, everybody can put their hands down. Just a couple of things. Remember, code red sign up, which is how you find out on your cell phone by text messages and emails about snow alerts, pretty much anything of an emergency nature and sometimes of an administrative nature. The QR code is on the back of your voter's booklet. Please use that. I do ask you when we're done with this to please remain. We've got one more article. It would be nice to move through it. If there's any discussion, fine. If there's not, fine. But I would ask you to hang around for that. It should not, I don't expect it's going to take long. And don't forget, please, to turn your clickers in, even though we didn't use them. They're pretty, but they're not really fashionable, so please turn them into the election workers out front. That's all right. The ayes have it. 404 in favor, 318 opposed. The motion carries. Please hang on. Please hang on. Mr. Vieira, is there a motion? Please hang on.
Mr. Moderator.
Please stand by quorum. Yep.
Article A, Select Board Chair Ross Brackett moves that the town appropriate and transfer FY25 receipts from the following accounts to be expended by the following town departments to balance the FY25 budget. $5,000 from health insurance to financial advisory services. The Select Board and Finance Committee support this motion.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. The question before you is whether to appropriate and transfer sums from the health insurance to financial advisory services. It's outlined on page 17 of the voter's booklet. It requires a majority vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. All right. Excellent. The chair will entertain a motion to dissolve. Moved and seconded. The question before you is whether to dissolve the meeting. It requires a majority vote. All those in favor say less filling. All those opposed say tastes great. That motion carries. And return your clickers, return your clickers, return your clickers.